Right, I know this is, I look like a mess. I've just come in from the gym and been for a run, but I really wanted to share this with you guys. And I've been doing a little update on this particular trade on my Instagram stories over the course of today. And I thought that I would catch it and be able to show you in real time. But I'll put some videos up for my Instagram that you can see as we go through this video. But I still want to share it with you because I think it's a really valuable lesson in terms of you building and becoming better and developing your trading strategy. And this was a trade that I took. It was one of 4 setups, and 2 played out. One was on the pound yen, one was on the pound Aussie. And I would have preferred to have taken the pound yen one, actually, because that was at a more discretionary level. It was at that 200 flat level. But this one, my entry criteria was met on this one, and it wasn't on the pound yen. But I was able to make just about £5,500 on this trade. It was Tuesday. This is my first official intraday trading day of the week. So it's a really great way to start the week. And I'm going to walk you through how I got involved, how I identified the setup, how I saw the entry criteria, and I'm going to talk to you about the story of price to try and get across how I think about these things and how I can capitalize on these great moves. So let's get stuck in. All right, so just so you know, we're not talking whack. You know, you can see down here that this was the order, £5,483. This was filled. This is the pound Aussie, and I'm going to walk you through this right now. So firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the pound yen, and I'll show you. This was the area that I was looking to get involved on the pound yen, and I didn't actually get my entry criteria met. This was at that 200 flat level, which is a great level in this market. But what I did get filled on was the pound Aussie, and the reason I did is because of the entry criteria. Similar setups, okay? So let's just get this off. If I go out to the higher time frame, what you're going to see is we was at this level of previous structure resistance. So the first thing you need to understand is this was a structure-based short, okay? So not a trend continuation. Plus, I didn't want to shoot for the moon. You know, I didn't want to be too greedy because it's a counter move. I just want to get in and out on the highest probability, capture the highest probability move, and make as much profit with the biggest reward to risk profile that I can possibly optimize for. And that's what I did. So first area I was looking at is this area here, which was previous support, became resistance, and we was in that zone again. Then I dropped down to my trading time frame, and we started to see, following this big bullish run, which I love to see a big bullish run into structure. That's what I like to see, because one, it means that, you know, that can't go on forever. We're likely to see a deceleration. But two, whenever we see that move, we know that there's likely to be a little bit of a reversal, right? So we can start identifying deceleration in the market, and we like to, you know, we know we can get in. And also, because there's a big bullish run, the potential profit target is great because I'm looking at structure for target taking, previous structure, inside structure. So you can see that that's really here, right? Which you can see my target was just above. So as soon as I saw this push into here, I waited for the pullback, and you can see we didn't violate break and close above that previous high, which is indicated by the top of this yellow zone here. I'm just going to remove all this just for simplicity. So we didn't break and close above that. So what I did then is RSI was going overbought, which is great. That's a great indicator. So I dropped down to the 15-minute time frame, and I said, right, all I need now is a double top, and I can use the 15-minute time frame for a double top. I've taught strategies about double tops. You can go and watch a double top strategy start to finish on my channel. Multiple videos I've done on double tops. Phenomenal, right? And if this is the only thing you learn in trading, you'll do all right. You really will do all right. So once we put in this initial test, what I'm looking at then is a little retracement, which we had. We had this nice time and price symmetry retracement. And the actual second test was actually right here, because this candle tested the previous high but didn't break and close above it, right? So this was the actual entry area for, or the entry price for the setup. Now, I wasn't at my charts during this time. I was having lunch, and I came back and I entered around here where you can see I entered here at 0748-ish. And I'll put the videos up that were on my Instagram, because I was tracking this on Instagram and sharing as I was going. If you're not following me on Instagram, by the way, go and do that, because I do that sometimes. And I got in a little bit higher, which is great. But then what I did on my Instagram is I started to talk through the story of price. So you can see here that this candle right here, if I just bring this the arrow on, this candle here, we open and close in the lower 40% of the candle. That's a great high test wick, a rejection setup, and we didn't close above this previous high, which is a real important factor, right? Then what happened is we had a bit of a sideways movement. We had another rejection candle. Now this one has technically closed above the previous high, but this is what I call a protected high because it's not closed above this high, which didn't close above the previous high. Does that make sense? So I call that a protected high. That's my own terminology for it. And what that means is still a higher probability that we're going to roll over, okay? Because it's not a new high. And then what we saw, which was kind of the final nail in the coffin, was this big spike above, right? Now my stop loss was here, up here at 0.775, and that was basically an ATR based stop. And then I entered here at around 0.749, and my target was based out on the higher time frame. So on that trading time frame, I wanted to get my targets just above this previous resistance level because I didn't want to have to fight through that. Remember, when you're optimizing for targets, you want to make sure that you've got least stuff in the way between your entry and your target, and lots of stuff in the way between your entry and your stop. So that's where my target went. And then I kind of did a few updates on Instagram, and then I went to the gym, I went for a run, and we ended up hitting targets. But this is a great example of how you stick to a plan. You have your setup, and then you have to have your entry criteria met, and you can use a double top entry. You can use high probability double tops with the RSI overbought and the divergence on the RSI down here, and then you get a tight reward to risk profile, minimal risk, maximum reward, high probability move. You're not being greedy, you're not fighting through previous structure, and you get in and out, and you can really capitalize and make lots and lots of profit on these types of trades. So as I said, if you like this, go and watch the other one on double tops. If you want to see more like this, let me know in the comments, and I'll do more setups as and when. This is really raw. I'm still in my gym gear. I'm going to go and have a shower now, but what a great way to start the week, right? If you want to learn more about this, you can go over to tier1trading.com. And until next time, I'll see you then.